Live Jump with Nita Brad.
All right, can you guys hear me now? Good evening, everybody. Thank you for watching Live Talk with Benita Bradley. I'm your host, Benita Bradley, and I hope you guys have had a wonderful Monday so far. And I know it's been a minute since we've been together, so I had to come back on and let you guys know how the live taping went, okay? We'll get into that later on this week, but today I want to talk to you extremely quick about something that it doesn't bother me. Well, maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe I should be more transparent about this particular subject. It bothers me a little bit, maybe a lot. I don't know. We'll see. So, good evening, Instagram. Thank you for joining. Good evening, Facebook. Thank you for joining. Good evening, YouTube. Thank you for joining. And good evening, Periscope, Twitter. Thank you for joining. And I think we have LinkedIn also. I'm not sure if we have them on or not. But listen, I want to talk to you about something that I've dealt with for a long time now. I didn't know how to address this subject because it's not one of those regular kind of subjects that you normally have to address. It's one of those you kind of have to address after a while, you know, and you really don't want to have to address it, but then sometimes the need arises that there are things we have to address. This is kind of like one of those subjects, you know. Hold on, let me get in the comments with some of you guys here. All right, there we are. Hold on, okay, now let me turn the volume down. All right, there we go. Swipe left. All right, now. Okay, so I'm in the comments live with everyone, including you guys on Instagram. If you remember Instagram, this is your monitor here. So you can see everything that's going on like everyone else, okay? It took me a minute to figure out how to get you included since Instagram does not allow anyone to live stream to them. We can only live stream from you. So now you can see what everyone else sees, and we're all on the same page, okay? All right, I'm not going to be long because I had a horrible migraine today. Absolutely horrible. And so I took the medicine they gave me for migraines and I just got dark in my room, turned the television off, turned the phone, everything off, and just went to sleep for a while. And I know I want to come and talk to you guys for a little bit, so I said, let me take a nap so I can get up and be ready to talk to my people. All right. And so if you are hearing and seeing me, okay, good evening, and tell me where you're watching me from. So far, let me tell you, the state that is leading, believe it or not, is Texas. Texas, you're leading in viewership. So, and then Florida and Georgia, of course. But the rest of you, you are tied for at number 2. But I mean, you're tied with 2s and 1s. But the leading states are Texas, Georgia, then Florida, and then some of the other states, okay? But Texas, so far, you are leading in viewership, all right? And thank you guys for that. Thank you guys for my numbers. Last month alone, we did over 10,000 viewership, and I appreciate that. So keep inviting people into the group and keep inviting people to watch the show. All right. All right. So as you saw on the announcement for the show, I'm going to be talking about tonight. Um, does Pretty have privileges? And I'm going to tell you why I want to talk about that. Someone said something. And sometimes when people say things to you and they kind of, oh, I was just joking, I don't know if they're actually just joking, or are they just joking because they saw your reaction to something, which is it? I don't know for sure. But sometimes just joking, if you say it one time, I might receive that as just joking. But if it's something you say on a regular basis, I don't know if you're just joking anymore. I think you're letting me know how you actually feel about me. I mean, and it's okay. You have a right to feel however you choose to feel. All right. So, but if that's your true feeling, then why add the just joking part to it? Because to me, that makes you dishonest. If you're saying, if you say this, oh, I'm just joking, but it's actually how you feel about me or anything or any person in particular, then that makes you a liar, because you're actually not just joking. You're saying you're just joking in order to avoid a conflict with that person that you may or may not actually like or like being around. But I've learned, I'll be 55 in August. And what I've learned is that people will have an opinion about anything, anybody, at any time. And guess what? That's your right. That's your absolute right to have an opinion about anything, anybody, anywhere, any place, anytime. However, when you begin to impose, how you feel about someone onto that person, I just don't think it's fair to expect for that person to just take everything you dump on them out of your personal feelings towards them and be like, okay, oh, we still gonna be cool. We still gonna be cool. It doesn't matter that you really keep telling me on the slide how you really feel about me. Oh, we still gonna be cool. No, we're still not gonna be cool. Excuse me. And I think that because we are most of us lean towards a Christian society, we think that it's necessary to be uh, doormats to other people's feelings and opinions of us, because we have been taught, turn the other cheek and, all this other stuff. And I don't recall that actually means that you put up with people's BS towards you, or you put up with how they feel towards you. Every now and then they sneak a little slide coming in, in their conversation with you. I don't think that's turning the other cheek per se. I just don't believe that. So I was approached about doing some work, okay, or making an appearance. Let me say it that way. I was approached about making an appearance. And there were some people with me, and they heard what was offered. And at the time, they seemed to be happy for me. They seemed to go along with what was being said. They were, kind of, yeah, she's good for that. And, oh, that will be so interesting. Oh, you'll be so happy about your decision, this, that, and the other. They were, Team Bonita all the way. But and so I thought the offer was very generous. Um, Even the compensation was quite generous, to be honest with you. Um, and then the person, whatever that was around, they also thought, wow, that's very generous. Basically, she's good for it, da 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 da. You're making a really good decision. They were, again, Team Bonita. Well, later on, uh, we were discussing the matter, the people I was with, and the people that seemed to be at the time Team Bonita. We were discussing the matter later on, and it came up that why did you think they offered you such a generous offer? So maybe, I don't know, maybe they watched the show, maybe uh, someone recommended me. I don't know, maybe they saw that I'm a good speaker. Maybe, I don't know, maybe um, they were impressed by when they met me. Maybe, again, maybe, someone put my name out. I don't know. Um, but I did suggest that, those things could have been, any of those things could have been possible. They've watched the show before, or they've seen me speak somewhere, or, they know someone that know me. And there was a referral or maybe a reference of some sort. I was just kind of throwing out things because, first of all, I was taken aback by the question of why would they give you such a generous offer. That kind of threw me off because during the conversation when we were all together, you were 1000%, Team Bonita. You was actually hyping it up. But then once we were no longer in that meeting or in that particular in the particular company of the person extending the offer, it was like a switch. I don't know what you call it, but I do know this: sometimes people can appear to be Team You until they see how other people see you, you know. And so, and I said, well, I guess, it could have been any of those things. They may have seen me in action or what have you. I don't know. Um, Maybe they have seen some stuff on my post. Maybe um, because I try to get on just about every social media outlet I can, and that I'm aware of. Maybe they've seen me on. I don't know. And so the person or the people that I was with suggested, well, maybe it's because you're pretty. And so I thought to myself, so you're saying that the only reason a person would offer me um, such a generous offer to make an appearance is just because I'm pretty? You don't think it's because um, I'm very articulate? You don't think it's because I'm I'm you know I'm good in front of the camera? You don't think it's because I study my crafts. You don't think it's because I'm educated. You don't think it's because um, my personality. You don't think it's because someone may have referred me. You don't think it's because of any other merit but the fact that you say I'm pretty. That's your only uh, that's your only way that you see that certain doors would open for me is because I'm pretty. Like, and they were like, well, I mean, I just don't see why someone who doesn't know you um, would extend such a generous offer. Um, Now I felt some kind of way by then. Now I'm starting to look around and I'm like, but when we were all together, you were go team go, you know, oh yeah, she would be a great speaker. Oh yeah, her numbers are great, blah, 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 blah. All of this, like rah, 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 sis goomba, go, bonita. But then as soon as we're out of certain presence, it was like a total flip. Something flipped. I don't know what happened. But they were like, well, I kind of stand by what I said, kind of deal. Like, that's kind of why you were given such a generous offer from someone who really don't know you. I'm like, well, when you initially do business with people, do you actually know them? When you're meeting someone for the first time, you don't actually know them. Everybody that you've done business with, you don't know them, and I'm not trying to get to know them. This is a business meeting. This is about business, no one said um, anything to me about, oh, because you're pretty, we want to uh, have you to do an appearance, or because of this, we want to have you do an appearance. No, because we've heard your story. Maybe, just maybe, my story alone has merit. Maybe it has nothing to do with how I look. Maybe, because when I'm on my show, now 3 years in, you can see these are just some of my credentials behind me. Just some of them. Some of them. So maybe there's more merit that I have to stand on than just my looks. And the person was very adamant, very adamant about, well, I don't know. And they were very adamant, and they still stood on what they're stood on. Well, I think it's only because you're pretty. So now I go from feeling like you was joking to now you offended me. Because why would I have to defend my own merits to somebody who say they love me and we're supposed to be close? Why would I have to defend anything about myself to someone who claims to know me, and someone who's supposed to be Team Bonita, and someone who in front of other people you were rooting for me, but then behind closed doors you give me this, oh, it's just because you're pretty, kind of deal. And I'm just like, excuse me, and I'm just like, I don't know sometimes how to come back real quick when stuff like that hits me, because like I said, some things it just kind of take me aback, and it takes me a minute to like, what you meant by that? It takes me a minute to process, but once I process it and then I call you out on it, you can't keep telling me you just playing when you and I both know at a very mature age, you're not just playing. You said what you meant and you meant what you said. Now, my part is, how am I going to respond to you going forward? How am I going to respond to you going forward? Do I keep you that close to me? Knowing now your thoughts towards me is not based on my educational merit, not based on my personality, not based on what I know, not based on my story, not based on my experiences in life, not based on my personal testimony, not based on the fact that I am a walking, living miracle. None of that. You're saying that the only reason things happen for me is because I'm pretty. Now, how am I supposed to go forward in a relationship with you of any kind, business, friendship, whatever, of any kind, knowing this is how you actually see me now? You don't see me as accomplished. You don't see me as educated. You don't see me as intelligent. All you see me as is pretty. So it went from thinking, you're so silly, to, oh, you're trying to be funny. But not the he ha kind of funny. You're not trying to be that kind of funny. You're trying to be the kind of funny that says, I like you, but I don't like you. The kind of funny that says, you would be nice to hang out with more if you didn't draw attention to yourself. Well, hell, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Tell me. I'm not going to do it, but I just like to hear, what do people expect of other people? Like, I have a friend, and I love when he says, you know what? You got a problem with that? Text God. Take it up with him. Take it up with God. Both of my parents are deceased. Half of y'all talk to the dead anyhow. Go talk to my parents. It's good genes. I don't know. Hell, I don't know what to tell people when they constantly come at me with the theory that the only reason this, that, or the other happens is because, it's because you're pretty. And so then that got me to thinking. I've been wanting to talk about this, but I didn't know how to approach it without getting in my emotions about it, and not just kind of, going off on people and saying how I really feel, or why I really think you feel, or they feel, or some of y'all feel the way you feel when it comes to people and how they look. But to constantly, if you do something one time, maybe it's a mistake, maybe. But if this is something you continuously say, now at some point you got to admit, this is just how I feel about you. And for me, I would rather, this is just me, I would rather a person be honest with me and say, hey, this is just how I feel about you, girl. I mean, you cool and all, but I don't really mess with you like that too regular. The reason why, when you call, you be texting or whatever, and you be trying to hang out. The reason why I'm always making excuses because I don't really like the fact that you draw attention to yourself, or I don't really like the fact that attention is drawn to you, because most of the time when I am out and about, if you know me, I'm normally to myself, I'm very funny about drawing attention to myself. I'm very, 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 very funny about that. I'm not going to be out in public, talking loud and, just drawing attention to myself because I can or because I need that attention. No, that's not what I do. And unfortunately, you don't know that because something within you doesn't give me the opportunity to show you that side of me. Because whenever I'm like, hey, what you doing, blah blah blah, you're like, oh, this, that, and the third. But then I look on social media and there's a whole shindig going on. And I'm like, but I thought y'all wasn't doing nothing. You know, I would have rather you say, well, we doing something. I just don't want you there. Because I'm cool with that. I would have been cool with that versus people taking jabs at me and at other people because of how they look. I think that's unfair. It's almost like reversed. I don't want to say racism, but it's almost like reverse colorism or reverse whatever ism you can think of, because it's like I don't like being around you. I like you, but I don't like being around you. Because it's more than likely you're going to get more attention than I am. And I'm the one trying to check for X, Y, and Z, but they trying to check for you. That's not my problem, because 9 times out of 10, if I'm with friends, girlfriends, or business friends, or what have you, relatives, or what have you, I can almost guarantee you, we don't have the same taste in men. I can almost guarantee you that. I have 4 sisters. 4. I have 4 biological sisters. I don't have the same taste in men as none of my sisters. Not one of them. I have girlfriends. I don't have the same taste in men in none of them. None of them. And so if we are not even, we don't even share that kind of, because if he's your man, he's with you, I'm going to celebrate the fact that he's for you. He's with you. You don't ever have to feel a certain way with me around, your guy or what have you, because if me and you are in relationship, honey, that's an automatic line in the sand I don't ever cross, and so when I see things like that happen and people actually say stuff to me like, oh, the only reason that worked out for you that way is because you're pretty, or the only reason this person won't work with you is because you're pretty, that's not a compliment. I just want to put it out there. That's not a compliment, because it speaks to, it doesn't speak to the beauty of the person. It speaks more to, this is just in my eyes, it speaks more to the insecurity of the other person, and so I wanted to, I'm going to talk about it again, but like I said, I'm not going to be on long because I was dealing with a horrible migraine today, but I had already planned to come and talk to you guys, maybe 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes at best. Because I want to start talking to you guys more, but, condensing the time a little, okay? So I said to the person, the people, or whomever it was, I said, you do know that's not a compliment. But I meant it as a compliment. No, you didn't. You meant it as a jab. And because those compliments that are, what's the right word? Those backhanded compliments, it's a compliment, but it comes with like a little jab at the end. It's kind of like people saying, oh, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. If somebody says that to somebody that's of a darker hue, oh, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. Someone said that to my granddaughter. My granddaughter is a lot darker than I am. She's the same color as same skin tone as my children. And if you see my children versus me and my other granddaughter, we are of completely different complexions. Okay. So someone said to my eldest granddaughter that she was pretty for a dark-skinned girl. And I told her, because she was like, Nana, what does that mean? I said, well, first of all, that's not a compliment. It's not a compliment, because when people are beautiful, they're just beautiful regardless of skin tone. And that should never come out of an adult's mouth to a child, period. And so, because let me tell you this, let me put a pin right now. I'll come back to that if I remember. Adult women, let me speak to you all, especially you Christian women. You all can be some of the meanest women I have ever seen in my life. Okay, I'll say it again. Adult women, particularly Black Christian women, you all can be some of the meanest women I have ever come across and ever had to deal with in my life. Women that are in the world, as you like to call them, or secular women, as you like to call them, even Caucasian women, receive me better than some of you all. I will never forget, even in ministry. That's why I said in the church, y'all mean, y'all got y'all own Mean Girls Club in the church. And these are things I've been wanting to talk about, but people try to cancel you when you start telling your truth, and your truth happens to be includes the way they have treated you. But I'm not that kind of afraid anymore. Once you go through the stuff I've been through and going through, child, don't that much scare you no more. So I never forget, I was taken to this church to meet someone. Someone wanted me to meet someone else, so they invited me to go to this particular church with them. And I had met the husband previously at a pastoral breakfast. Well, at the time I met him, the wife wasn't there. So someone set up wanted me to meet the wife as well. Because the husband wanted me to work with him, but I did not want to agree to work with him without meeting his wife first. That's just what I do. All right. When it comes to church business, because I already know how church women are, I know how you all can be. You all can be really, really mean. You all have your own Mean Girl Club in the church. I don't care what nobody say. I've been in it all my life. I started working in ministry when I was 14. Listen, like I said, I'll be 55 in August. You do the math, honey. You all are mean. So we get to the church, and of course I'm recognized, whatever. And then the pastor asked if I would come up and do whatever, so I did. I go back to my seat. I do what I'm asked to do, and I sat down. That's what I did, because I've been taught. And so after the service, the person that invited me was taking me over to meet the pastor's wife. And when we got over to her, the person was making the introduction. And she said, this is, Pastor Benita, blah, 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 blah. And the wife said, oh, you're Pastor Benita. And I said, yeah. And I went to embrace her and I said, yeah. She says, oh, wow, you're beautiful. So I'm like, trying to embrace her. And she just says, oh, wow, you're beautiful. And so I'm still standing there with my arms extended towards her, and she walks off. She walks off. So I'm standing there like, what just happened? And the person that made the introduction, they were so overwhelmed. They was like, oh My God, Pastor, I've never seen her out like that. I don't know what happened. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that happened to you. So I'm like, what happened? What, you know, why was that her reaction? I've never seen her. She's never seen me. You know, um, I was just, I got up and your husband asked me to do the prayer. I did the prayer and I sat down. You seemed to be into it, but when the person made the introduction, and if that person is watching now, I'm telling the truth, and you remember that moment. It was that moment that made me look at women in church differently, especially first ladies. I've been a first lady. I was married in ministry for 20 something years, honey. Been there, done that. You know, um, and the things that you all are mistreating other women over, child, that's your battle to fight. Other battles, it belong to the Lord, but that's your battle to fight. you know um and so that did something to me because I had never had that happen before, just so openly and so blatantly, just disrespectful. It was disrespectful. And for you to say that you love God, you love people, you're in a position, um first lady is not a position or a title to me. It's just something that, you know, we say. It doesn't make you any more or less powerful than anyone else. Has no special qualities or anointing to it. If you ask me, it just gives you more reason to show your insecurities, and get away with it, and mistreat other women, and no one calls you on the carpet about your poor behavior. Um, and so I had never experienced that before in my entire life. You know, um, funny thing was, while I was married, uh, I didn't really encounter a lot of how would I want to say this? Being beautiful bashing. That's just what I'm gonna call it, being beautiful bashing. I didn't experience that because people felt like, oh, if you got a husband and you're beautiful, you're not a threat to them. But once I was single, that's when women would start treating me differently around their husbands. And I'm like, girl, that's your battle to fight. Listen, I carried my cross. That's your cross, to carry. And you're not carrying it very well because you mistreat people that actually can help you carry the cross a little bit better than what you're carrying it, because you're carrying a little lopsided. And I've offered to help so many pastors' wives carry their load a little bit better. But I've heard stuff like, oh, I have enough friends, I'm not looking for no new friends. I'm not trying to be your friend, hon. I'm trying to help you, because what you did during the service, this is another service I was in, what you did, you embarrassed yourself, because what you said it from the pulpit, and an elderly woman had to correct you. You get up there and say, oh, my husband just walked in, and don't y'all be back there looking at him because he belonged to me. Of course, every woman in there turns around. We're at a women's conference. We're going to turn around and see, well, who's she talking about? And when we turn around, we're like, girl, bye. Bye. That you think, girl, like you said, that's your husband. Don't nobody want him but you. And if somebody else in here want them and you are aware of that, then go to her. Don't subject us all to this kind of cruelty and insecurity. I hate going. This is why I stopped going to women's conferences. I stopped going to them because you're going to talk about somebody being broken, somebody being unhappy, how men mistreat women in ministry, how men are dogs, how all men cheat, and how single women are whores, and nobody ain't saved but y'all, and nobody don't have no prayer life but y'all since y'all married, and y'all some of the biggest demons and most angriest women I have ever encountered in my entire life. Yes, I got to get this off my chest so I can be blessed. Yes, y'all are terrible. You mistreat people for no reason. Another pastor's wife. What was my husband saying to you? He was giving me an assignment to do. What assignment? Because he ain't told me nothing about it. And I said, oh, Lord. I'm thinking, here we go again, Jesus. And I said, he told me to X, Y, and Z. Oh, he didn't tell me nothing about that. And I said, okay. Well, when the two of you talk and the two of you figure it out exactly what it is you want me to do, somebody please let me know. But until then, I'll be here. So you got the husband says, let's get to work. Let's get to work. The wife saying, nah, I don't want her doing nothing. Well, why? Because of how she looked. How is that? It's just something. What is the something? Explain to me. What is it? I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Then put your foot on it. What is it? Tell me. What is it? Would you like to go have coffee so we can sit down and talk? No, I don't want to go have coffee with you. Okay, so what's wrong? What's wrong? Why is it you don't want to work together? I'm here to work. Anybody that knows me, you know anything about me in ministry and me in business, I don't mix anything with those two. Because if I'm here to do a job, let me do my job. And if I'm here to do ministry, let me do ministry. Keep all that other stuff to yourself. And keep your insecurities wrapped up in your own blanket and around your friends who let you get away with that stuff. Because that's not me. It's just not me. Not me. And I have had to constantly remove myself from church women because you all can be so cruel because of the way another woman looks, the way she carries herself, you know. It doesn't matter if the man is married or single, it's always going to be some mess come up with some of these insecure, angry church women. Y'all can be hurtful. And then when people leave, first thing y'all say, oh, they left because they couldn't get their way. That's a lie. They left because you were mean to them. I wish we lived in an honest society, particularly in the church. I wish we lived in a time and in a place inside the church that people would be honest and say, you know what, I ran them off. I did. I was mean. I was insecure. You know, she's a very beautiful woman. And one time I saw my husband looking at her, and that did it for me. I was like, oh, no, honey, you ain't finna get my husband. Girl, I see how he treats you. I see you walk around here looking confused and displaced. It's because people don't get a chance to get to know you. It's certain stuff I don't tolerate, you know. And if I'm looking in your eyes and you always looking sad and confused about who you are, that stuff comes from home. That don't come from you dealing with other women. That comes from home. And when y'all got issues at home, you ought to leave that mess at home and deal with it at home. Y'all shouldn't keep bringing stuff to the church and taking it out on innocent people. I can tell you a lot of beautiful women don't even go to church anymore because, and I know them personally, because of you all and your insecurities. So for somebody to continuously tell you, oh, that's just because you're pretty. That's because you're pretty. Men like working with you because you're pretty. Oh, this you could do this because you're pretty. You totally negate the fact that when I'm educated, you know, I'm very versatile. I can interview a judge just as well. As I can interview a former crackhead. But sometimes they be one and the same. Y'all just don't know about it. I'm versatile with people and I accept people for who they are. You all try to change people until who you want them to be so you're more comfortable with them. That's not your place. That's not your job. Our job is to love one another. Our job is to be kind to one another. Our job is to be accepting of one another. Y'all get so riled up about everybody else's decisions in life. The church hate gay people. Gay people hate the church. You know, it's just crazy. Y'all argue about any little thing. Tomorrow, Tuesday. No, tomorrow is actually not Tuesday. Tomorrow is actually the third day of the week. Are y'all kidding me? Are y'all serious? Y'all will argue about anything to prove yourselves right and to make someone else wrong. But how do you make an entire group of people wrong based on the fact that they're beautiful? I mean, who gives you that right? What gives you that right? You know? So every time I hear someone say stuff like, oh, you got that happened for you because you're pretty or you're beautiful or whatever, or I'm rejected by women that I try to befriend, you know, one pastor's wife told me, it's funny now, but it hurt my feelings when she said it. She said, honey, listen, I have the same friends I've always had for the past 20 years. And she started pointing people out that were at this conference I went to, women's conference I went to. And she said, you see that lady over there? Yeah. She's one of my best friends. We've all been friends for 20 years or more. And she said, we're not actually looking for any new friends. We're good. And I said, oh, okay. I understand. And let me tell you something. This was a women's conference. This was told to me. Pastor's wife told me this when I extended my friendship towards her. Same one that got up and went off talking about, don't look at my husband. Girl, didn't nobody even know that the man came in. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say. So I didn't say anything. I was just like, okay, I understand. And I left there and I never went back to visit there, and I never will. I never will. Just like the other church, I will never visit that church again. You know, the one who says when the other person made the introduction and I went to embrace her, because that's just me. That's me. And she said, oh, you're Bethany. Wow, you're beautiful. And I'm like, and she just kind of looked at me and walked away. And I'm still standing there like, I'm like, what just happened? So because your observation of me is that I'm beautiful, you couldn't receive me, you couldn't embrace me? Like, make that make sense. I never went back to that church again to visit. The husband wanted to do some work together, you know. I turned that offer down. I don't have the whatever it takes to put up with insecure women and women mistreating me in ministry because I look a certain way. If you've ever had the privilege of working with me in ministry, particularly if you are a male, you know I come in to get the job done, period. I come in to get a job done. If you say, this is what I need you to do, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to come in and try to change your mind. I'm not going to come in and try to get close to you. I'm not going to come in and try to flirt with you. I'm coming in to do exactly what you asked me to do. That's why I get called in. Now, what part does my looks play? I don't know. We don't talk about that kind of stuff. We talk about protocol and procedures, growth and development. That's what men talk to me about when they call me in to meet with me. Because that's what I do. But it got to a point where I just start feeling like, you know what? Church shouldn't be this hard. I shouldn't have to fight to work in church. I shouldn't have to fight with women to work in ministry. And after a while, you know what? I just got tired of fighting. I'm like, y'all can have it. It's just not worth the fight. It's not worth the mental frustration of it all, because you're going to always feel like, well, what did I do? What did I say? Did I come off wrong? You know, was my body language, you know, on par? Was I acting frisky around her husband? What, you know, you're always second guessing and checking yourself, when really you're not the problem. How you look is the problem. Now, my initial question was, does pretty have privileges? I'm sure it does. I'm absolutely sure it does. However, some of you have taken that a bit too far, and you charge beautiful women guilty of only being beautiful but not gifted, only being beautiful but not talented, only being beautiful but not educated, only being beautiful but not able to stand on other merits. And that's the problem when it comes to, you know, pretty and privileges. Some of you are cruel. Church women, some of you are cruel. I want to talk to you before I close. Some of you are absolutely cruel. I don't understand how it is you say you love God, how it is you say you speak for him, you're his representative, you represent him in the earth. I don't understand any of that when you show prejudice against women who are beautiful. This is not the last time I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it again and again and again, because it's a problem in the church and we need to address it. The way y'all treat certain women it's just beyond me. And then you want, hey, sis. Don't call me sis. When behind my back, you call me other things that are not so sisterly. Somebody got to say it. Y'all are such bullies, y'all make people afraid to say stuff like this. But you can't bully me anymore into being quiet about this stuff, because I won't be quiet. I won't deal with you either. You know, don't invite me to nothing you're having. I'm not coming. I'm absolutely not coming. If you can't invite me based on merit that makes sense, don't invite me because you need body count in the room or you're trying to meet some quota. Don't invite me to your ministry events. Don't invite me to do business with you. Don't invite me to do anything with you if you know deep down inside you really can't stand me because of how I look. I had a woman tell me in church years and years ago. She just came up to, she says, I was a minister back then. This was like in the 90s, I think. She said, may I speak to you for a minute, minister? And I said, sure. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. She says, well, this is something I'd like to tell you. And I said, what is it? She says, I've been trying to figure out a way to tell you this. So I was like, well, I'm thinking she's going to give me a word. She says, I really don't like you. And I said, that's so funny. She says, no, I'm not joking with you. And so I said, oh, you're not? She says, no, I'm very serious. And I said, oh. I said, okay, well, what did I do? I'm still kind of in a kind of jovial little mood because I'm still thinking, okay, she's going to prank me. She says, well, number one, I don't like the way you talk. I said, what's wrong with the way I talk? She says, I just don't like it. I don't like it, period. She says, and then I don't like the fact that you use your hands when you talk. It's like you're talking above me. I said, what? So now we're at the church, just finished having a shouting good time, hallelujah, folks falling out, speaking in tongues, all this good stuff that went on at church. People got healed, set free, and delivered. And here you come with the foolery. And I said, I've always used my hands when I talk. I say I can work on it, but that's just me. Well, no, you ain't got to work on nothing because you just are who you are. And another thing, I don't like the fact that when you talk, your hair moves. I said, what? She says, why does your hair have to move when you talk? I said, I don't know. I've always had thick, long hair. This is a sew-in, but trust me, my hair, my natural hair is just as thick and healthy. And so I said, I don't. So now I'm shrinking because here's a woman that's older than me. And so now I'm shrinking. I feel like I'm shrinking, standing there being chastised because of how I look. I'm being chastised because of how I talk. I'm being chastised because of my hair texture. I'm being chastised by this woman, and no one's around. No one's saying anything to her because she's a big giver. She has a little status in church or whatever. And here I am. I'm an upcoming minister, and this woman is just telling me, she's reading me the riot act, all based on the fact that she doesn't like how I talk. She doesn't like the fact that I use my hands. She doesn't like my voice. She doesn't like the way I pronounce my words. She doesn't like my hair. She doesn't like that my hair move when I talk. She doesn't like anything about me. And then here was the kicker. She said, I really don't like the fact that Bishop treats you like his own daughter. And I said, by now I'm crying because I don't know what the hell to say. This is a woman. She's an elder in the church. I didn't know what to say. I'm an upcoming minister. I'm married. I had 3 children. And I didn't know what to say. And I said, well, did you know that Bishop and my dad are friends? Did you know that my mother was in Bishop's brother's wedding? Did you know any of that? Did you know that our families have history? Did you know Bishop is the same man that prophesied to me when I was 12 years old? She was so angry with me. None of that mattered to her. None of it. And you know why she was angry? All because of the way I looked. She said that she didn't like the way I looked. She didn't like the way I talk. She didn't like the fact that my head moves when I talk. If my head moves, my hair moves. She didn't like the fact I use my hands when I talk sometimes. She said she just didn't care for me. So this is not a problem that just started. I'm just kind of getting free enough and getting up the nerve enough to address it. All these things happen in church. And I'm going to keep talking about it until I see some of you women changing some of your ways, because y'all are mean. Y'all mean. Hey, Jan. Y'all are mean. Y'all are mean women. People talk about church hurt as members, but as a woman in ministry, the most church hurt I've experienced came from other women. Came from other women. I never forget a pastor's wife actually called me. She wanted to know if her husband had said anything or did anything inappropriate to me. No. I mean, like, why would you assume that? You know how uncomfortable that would make you feel? That made me feel really uncomfortable. And then not only did you make me feel uncomfortable, you exposed something that's going on in your home that should not have been exposed to me. First ladies, you all got to stop this foolery y'all doing. Just because a woman looks good, she carries herself well, fix yourself up. That's what you do. Fix yourself up, get you together, and stop coming for women because they look a certain way. I had this conversation with a male friend. He said, hell, you can put on a sackcloth, you can put on a sheet, and you still gonna have that problem. But guess what? I can't carry y'all burden no more. I can't. I just can't, you know. I can't and I won't. I don't want to. And you, ma'ams, don't get the right. You don't have the right. God does not give you the authority or the right to say who is of God and who's not of God based on how a person looks. I wear my clothes the way I want to wear my clothes. And if that tells you that I'm a certain type of woman, you got to check your own self, baby. You got to check your heart. Because truth be told, I don't like to put my business out there, but this here sexy body got low mileage on it. Can you say the same? With your holy self? With your dress down to the floor? Can you say the same? I'm just asking questions. Because I get tired of women saying stuff to me and to other beautiful women that they really should be talking to a therapist about. Some of y'all need to go see a therapist. That's what you need. You need therapy. Because anytime you take jabs at another woman because she's beautiful, anytime you take your own insecurities out on another woman and you try to give her a reputation, and then when it comes back to her, but you still, sis, girl, get the hell out of here with that. You're not my sister. You're not. Your heart is just wicked. And perhaps that's why you feel so insecure, not because you're ugly, but because your heart is ugly. And perhaps if you change the inside, perhaps the outside might start look a little better. You ever thought about that? Instead of taking jabs at other people, look at the woman in the mirror. Stop being so mean. And trust me when I tell you this. I mean, this is a good check. You can take this to the bank anytime, cash it. There is nothing about the kind of man that you like that attracts me to him. Period. I can promise you that on a good day. I like a very specific type of gentleman. Very specific. And they don't just hang around anywhere doing anything with anybody. Let's just get that clear. So, does Pretty have privileges? Yes. But you all try to make Pretty also have punishment. And that's over with. Done. Finished. It's over with. Nobody is putting up with your bitter self anymore. Period. You don't like a person because they're beautiful? Fix yourself up. You don't like a woman in her 50s that still wears stilettos? Hey, do you? You ain't got to wear them. You don't like my dresses because they show off my legs? Girl, shut up. I work hard on these legs. I work hard to survive the things I have to survive. And instead of you all being celebratory, you all find reasons to be insensitive and say crazy stuff to people. Just crazy, off-colored stuff for no reason. But y'all saved and y'all sanctified and y'all got so much of the Holy Ghost. I wonder if your Holy Ghost ever tell you, don't say that. Your Holy Ghost ever tell you, don't joke like that about her. Your Holy Ghost ever tell you that's offensive. Your Holy Ghost ever tell you you need to apologize for what you said. I don't know what kind of Holy Ghost y'all got. Y'all must have this new age, I don't know, Holy Ghost, you know. I don't know. We had the real thing, you know, Holy Ghost that make you stop shouting mid jump up. Now you know you need to go apologize. And then you go over there. I just want to give you a hug because the Lord laid on my spirit that when me and you got into that argument, I said some things I shouldn't have said, and I just want you to forgive me. And I want you to know I love you. And that was wrong, but I did. And then y'all hug and y'all embrace and y'all start shouting together. Everybody crying. Y'all don't have that kind of Holy Ghost no more. Y'all had that kind of Holy Ghost where you offend somebody and you'll go shout right next to them. Because all y'all shouting and dipping and crossing legs all the same. Everybody go sit down. Everybody go out to eat. Everybody go home depressed because nothing has been settled. Nothing. But girl, we had a good time. I can't stand you still. But we had a good time. That's the kind of Holy Ghost y'all got these days. I don't know. I don't want that kind of Holy Ghost. I keep the old kind. The kind that gives me the boldness to come and have these conversations with you all. Yeah, Pretty does have its privileges. But y'all try to make Pretty be a punishment too. You're not going to punish me any longer. I'm not going to let it happen. You say something slick to me, I'm going to say something slick back. Period. You try to throw shade at me, I'm just going to rain all over your tree, honey. Period. Because y'all are mean. Y'all are mean. Ooh, church women. Y'all black women, y'all some mean women. Mean. Y'all are act happy for people. But when we get behind closed door, y'all let your true self show. Just come right out the bag with anything. Oh, that was because you're pretty. What? So that's all I got going for me is my looks. That's what you're trying to tell me? Is that what you meant when you said that? Oh, okay. Okay. All these certifications, all this money I've spent, all this time I've studied, these degrees I've achieved, none of that has its own merit. Okay. Okay. Y'all remember that commercial? I think it might have been L'Oreal, Pantene, or somebody. It was a shampoo commercial. It used to come on a long time ago. And the commercial said, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful." Well, I added a little caveat to it. So I said, "Don't hate me because I'm beautiful, because I don't hate you because you're not." Okay, so I see right there. It's okay for you to bash me for being beautiful. But when I say something like that, oh, she being conceited. Oh, she's so arrogant. Girl, please. Let people be themselves. You do the best you can to be you. And you allow people to be who they are. You know, my mother died last year, but my mother had the opportunity to tell people who were my friends, you know, my comrades in ministry. My mother had the opportunity to tell some of them, you know, they would suggest, "Oh, your daughter is just a, you know, oh, she's put on." My mom would say, "Honey, that child been like that since the day she was born." But my mama said bone, you know, she's from Georgia. Nita been like that from the day she was born. She ain't putting on. That's just her. She always been prissy. She always been a pretty girl. She always been this. She always been that. That's just her. She always been a smart girl. Ooh, I guess mother told me. I guess she did. What you're not going to do is talk to my mother about me and you trying to throw jabs at me because of the way I talk and how I look. That didn't go over too well, did it? People will they'll watch you long enough to see if your other shoe is going to drop, kind of deal. I try to get my shoes to fit so neither of them come off, particularly in public. So let me ask you guys, do you think pretty has privileges? I know it does. But that does not negate the fact that beautiful women are intelligent, we're builders, we're visionaries, we're educated, we're educators, you know? I want you all to think about what I've said here this evening. And some of you won't. You won't give it a second thought because you think, I've been called arrogant by women, all kind of names. Church women who said they were friends of mine, women who are in ministry, pastors and apostles and bishops, and all of those grand titles, first ladies. It's just, girl, I see your brokenness. I've been there and done that. I'm trying to help you. I never forget, we were at a family and friends day at this church. And the pastor had said, mingle with different people you don't normally talk to. Have a conversation. So his wife was sitting at this table by herself. So I went and sat down with her. I said, hi. She says, that's my husband's seat. And I said, I just came to speak to you. Okay, but that's my husband's seat. I say, well, he just said everybody just gonna speak to everybody. So I just came to speak to you. And what hurt me was that I actually invited other people that drove from out of town to be a part of their family and friends day. And I said, well, I just came to speak, since that's what the instructions were, that everybody speak to everybody. I said, I just came to speak to you. Well, if you go get something to eat, you can't come back here and sit. I said, well, I wasn't going to get anything to eat anyhow. At that time, excuse me, I had just started my journey of weaning myself off of meat. And so I said, well, I wasn't going to get anything to eat right now. And she said, well, you're going to have to get up. So I said, well, okay. So I looked over, and her husband is just a pastor, bishop, or whatever it is, was fellowshipping with the people. And she kept saying, well, you got to get up. That's my husband's seat. So I'm like, okay. I just got up and walked away. So at the time, my eldest daughter was still living, and she noticed something was wrong. She kept saying, Mom, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'm like, nothing. I'm all right. She was like, no, what's wrong? Something happened. So I told her. And so she went over, and she had a conversation with this woman. And from what I was told, my daughter said to her, listen, lady, you hurt a really good person. My mom was only trying to speak to you because your husband said everybody speak to everybody. And you treated her like she was nobody. She says, you don't even know. My mom has been through everything that you go through as a pastor's wife. And my daughter said to her, you caused my mom to leave church in tears because you were so rude to her. One thing about my daughter, my eldest daughter who passed away, she's very beautiful. She looks just like me. She's just darker hue, but she looks just like me. And she's tall. She's taller than I am, tall, slender, and she basically told her what she told her, and you guys know, to this day, not one woman has ever apologized. What they'll do, they'll wait a little while, and then they'll be like, oh, hey, sis, no, don't know. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't inbox me. Don't come on my post and try to get involved in the conversation I'm having, because I'm going to ignore you. The only thing you can do is apologize. Apologize for your poor behavior. Apologize for your quick tongue into thinking one thing meant something when it didn't. Apologize for your name calling publicly. You do it publicly. You apologize publicly. You call me arrogant. You call me some of everything. You called me a witch. Y'all know church women are crucial, honey. Crucial. That's why I don't deal with too many of them no more. Well, you bashing. I ain't bashing nobody. What y'all do is bashing. Y'all some mean girls. Mean girls. I ought to write a book about mean girls in the church. All right. I'm going to talk about this again. Probably this week. Might be tomorrow. I don't know. But I won't be silent anymore about it. Don't worry, I ain't gonna never call your name. Yours, yours, or yours. Because your insecurities speak louder than your anointing. I'll say that again in my closing. Women, your insecurities are speaking louder than your anointings. They're outweighing your gifts, skills, and talents. You only like people that makes you feel comfortable about who you are or who you are not. But if a woman looks like me, carries herself well, you don't want to have no parts of her because of your insecurities, or you think she's after something you got. Girl, really? Y'all got to do better. Y'all got to do better. Because I know you know better. You know, there used to be a saying, when you know better, you do better. But y'all know better and still won't do nothing right. Y'all know better and still going to keep right on doing what you want to do, how you want to do it, no matter how you make people feel. And I often wonder, how would I address the subject of, beauty bashing? You got gay bashing, you got so many different. What about beauty bashing? What about you women that bash women because of the way they look, the way they carry themselves? What about that? That is a thing. Not a lot of women are going to talk about it, because then they're going to have to admit that they are just simply beautiful. And some of you are just drop dead gorgeous. And people have a problem when you know who you are, when you're comfortable in your own skin. They have an issue with you then. A huge issue. Young lady said one time, she said, you know what I've discovered about issues? It's you. That's your issue. I appreciate you all for tuning in tonight. Listen, finally got the Patreon page up and running. And you all know last week we did our live audience, live studio audience taping for our first pilot show to go on TV. And I do have some of the raw footage from it. They're still editing, because, we did it in phases. So they're still editing. But I do have some footage from it, and it will be posted in my Patreon, on my Patreon page. And let's see if I can just run my Patreon commercial real quick before I go off. Let's see, somebody said something. Hello, Miss Benita Bradley. Hello, Facebook user. I don't know who you are, because when you come on, they ask you if you give StreamYard permission to use your name and your profile picture. You have to say yes, and that way I'll know who you are. Other than that, I won't know who you are. It just comes up and says Facebook user. So whoever is saying, hello, Miss Benita Bradley, hello to you. Thank you for tuning in. Let me get my commercial. And then I'm going to get out your way, because I'm hungry. When I have a migraine, I can't eat, so I will sleep. Let's see. Okay, here's the commercial for my Patreon. Okay, let's see what this is. Okay. All right. I know who you are now. Thank you for joining in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I know who you are now. Thank you so much for that. All right. Here's my commercial for my Patreon page, guys. Get the information. Here we go.
entertaining, provocative, and always uncensored.
Behind the Curtain with Benita Bradley.
Incredible video for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so grateful for everyone that has had a part in producing this show. There's so many moving parts. If you know how many moving parts there are just producing a show from home, can you imagine that being multiplied by 1,000 when you're in a live studio audience? I had the absolute time of my life, but there are a lot of moving parts, and I'm going to tell you about that a little bit later, but I'm going to talk more about it in Patreon. So you got to get over there and join the Patreon page. I'm still doing some work over there, but it is up and running. I got my first member, I think last night before last, whenever I finally finished everything over there. But it is up and running. I tried it once before, but I didn't know how to, maneuver everything. But now that I know a little bit more about Patreon, how it works, you can head over and join. You can join for either $5, $10, or $15 every month. Very minimal amount of money, but you get a whole bunch of benefits with it. Okay. Instagram, I hope you were able to see it on your monitor. If not, you go to patreon.com, you search for Behind the Curtain with Benita Bradley. Do not search for Live Talk with Benita Bradley. You're not going to find me. Search for Behind the Curtain with Benita Bradley, because in Patreon, you're going to get exclusive content that won't be released publicly. Okay. Whether it's by my personal journey with brain tumors, you're going to get to see pictures and footage that I absolutely will not release to the public. Behind the scenes, whatever work I'm doing in the studio, whether it's in my home studio where I am now, or it's in the live studio, you'll get to see some of the bloopers and unedited footage that will absolutely not be released publicly, but it will be shared in the Patreon page. And then we get to have more one-on-one discussions more privately, okay, in Patreon. And the things I want to say in Patreon that I cannot say openly here, we'll talk about them in Patreon, okay? So that's what exclusive content is. It means exclusive content. And then also some of my friends, celebrity friends, will be dropping by in Patreon to have a chat with some of you. You can talk to them, ask them questions, things of that nature. So it's a lot of benefits. And then when we do have live tapings and concerts and wherever I am or wherever Live Talk with Benita Bradley is, you'll get the chance to be there on site with me as well. Okay. So go over to patreon.com, put in your search bar Behind the Curtain with Benita Bradley, and join. Again, it's $5, $10, $15, tier 1, $5, tier 2, 10, tier 3 is 15. Okay. And when you read the tiers, you'll see the higher the tiers, the more benefits you get. Okay. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Instagram. You're always amazing. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube. And thank you, Periscope, Twitter. Thank you, Live Talk with Benita Bradley group on Facebook. Thank you, guys. You guys are doing amazing. You are the reason that my show just last month alone hit over 10,000 viewers, and I appreciate that for you. And I'm thankful. Okay, so I may be back tomorrow. Y'all know my grandbaby is gone for the summer, so I don't know what to do with myself in the evening. So I may be back to talk to y'all probably every evening. I don't know. We'll see. But I already called her one time, and then I texted her last night, and I said, okay, I'm trying to go a whole day without calling her or texting her. So I've done good so far, but I know I'm gonna say I'm gonna call her and say good night. That's just something I can't let that part go, because we always say good night and I love you. So that's just but during the day I try not to, helicopter over her while she's away in Florida with my family. This is her first time away out of town like that, away from me. Yeah, so y'all pray for me, okay? She probably just woohoo having the time of her life. She probably like, ooh, I get to eat real food. I get to eat real meat. I get to eat fried food. She probably just having a hip hop time, honey. She probably just living it up. And I forget the first time she went somewhere, I can't remember, and she sent me a picture of a chicken sandwich or something she was eating, and she was like, "Look, Nana, they gave me real chicken." She was like, I got real chicken, and she sent me a picture, with the sandwich like that. Kids are ruthless sometimes. But thank you guys for watching. Oh yeah, if you want to support the show, you can do so. We still are. You can still be a sponsor of the show, because they're already talking about shooting the next show. Let's see which one it is. I'm going to put the information up here so you can see. Okay, there's how you support the show. All right. So if you want to support the show financially, that's how you support the show financially. I do want to mention that we did go into taping our first episode, our pilot, debt free. We met our contract in full before the day of taping. So I'm thankful for that. Thank you to all of my sponsors. I'm working. I got to go back in and shoot your commercials. So I'll be back in studio this week to shoot all my sponsors' commercials. Thank you. I'm not going to try to call you off right now, because like I told you earlier, I had a migraine. So when I have those migraines, I'm kind of a little foggy. So, but know that you are most appreciated. And thank you for your continued support. All right. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here because I'm hungry. I'm going to get me a bowl of lettuce and eat it. Those of you that know me know that's exactly what I'm going to do. Sometimes people like say, oh, she's just putting on. That's because you don't know me. Something else I'm supposed to show you. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. All right, guys, listen, I will see you guys probably tomorrow. Like I said, my grandbaby is gone. And she's my riding partner, my let's watch a movie partner, now let's check and see how many subscribers you got on YouTube partner. She does all of that. Speaking of which, make sure you go over to my YouTube channel and subscribe, okay? That's very important you do that, because also over there, I have a little bit more freedom than in this meta world, okay? All right, let me get my outro together. All right, guys, so I will see you guys next time. Let me get rid of that.
Yeah.